Are you going to be recording the session?
I've just started recording.
Perfect. Colleagues, welcome to this morning's session. You all probably know Professor Ade-Ibijole. Let me just say it properly. Okay, he's Professor Abejide Ade-Ibijola. He is affectionately known as Professor Jide by his colleagues. Professor Jide has been, is in that spirit of innovation. It seems like innovation is in his DNA, and you're probably aware of all his different developments thus far, particularly in the teaching and learning environment. And he has developed together with his students this simulation of an in-person classroom environment. And he gave us a sense of it when we had our preparation for this webinar. And I do believe that you're all going to enjoy his presentation. It's not a totally immersive experience at this point in time, but it's probably going to be developed to be one of a immersive experience eventually for students. So Jide, we're looking forward to your presentation. We are in your hands. We have about an hour for this presentation. So how many minutes do you need to do the actual demonstration itself, Jide?
Yeah, thanks, Prof. Chetty. First, thank you for the opportunity to present this. Okay. And your office is doing a fantastic job on innovations in the CBE, because I actually see a lot of innovations from colleagues as well in other departments, and it's really exciting. So, Prof, to your question, how much time do we need? So the way I've structured the presentation is first some background, then the demo goes in between. Towards the end, I open the floor for colleagues to ask questions, and we can all just make it an interactive section. It doesn't have to be too formal, the way I've structured it. So yeah, basically, Prof, so we're looking at something that like this, this is the background part. Then in the demo, I'm going to bring in my student, Keagan.
Before you start, Jide, we circulated the link to the game itself with everybody.
Yes.
But I don't know if they had the opportunity to actually download the game. It's quite a big
file. Yes.
Big file, yeah.
Yes. Games are usually big, Prof. So yes, our colleagues will tell us. The guys in the chat window will type in the chat window to tell us if they've downloaded. Anybody following through, we can actually wait for that person and interact as well. Okay. Whoever wants to follow our own on-screen demo as well can just follow and see what's possible. I think for most of our colleagues as well, it's almost it's a question of what is possible and not really gaming that particular game, because that game is a game for my module. So
no, that's perfect. And for those of you that were able to download the game and are able to join through that platform and engage with Jide, you are welcome to do so. If others did not do it, then you can still interact during the course of this presentation. So Jide, I hand over to you now, and I suppose you'll probably take about 30 minutes or so to do the actual formal demonstration, and then we'll have some question and answers, and we'll take it from there. So thank you very much, Jide, and please go ahead.
Thank you, Prof. Chetty. Thank you, and good morning, colleagues and students, and whoever is joining us from wherever you're joining us. I appreciate your time. So Dev Game, I'm just going to jump straight into it. Dev Game is something that came to our mind, and we decided to just try to put a student in a virtual environment where they can feel like they're still in a classroom. So that was the whole idea. And this idea came to my mind. I started with one of my students that we've been working on games with for a while. His name is Keagan. Keagan is here. Keagan, switch on your cam. Let's see you. So I started with Keagan, and we sketched something out. And yes, that's Keagan. Say hello.
Morning, everyone.
Yeah. So Key, it's going to be very informal. Like I said, we're just going to walk you through what we've done. So the first part is I'm going to introduce you. Keagan, don't switch off your cam at the stage. I'm just going to introduce you and myself for colleagues that are just joining for the first time. Then I'm going to explain why are we even talking about a game for development software. That's the name of the module. Then designing the game, what went into it. I'm going to show you a few things from the back side of things. Then game demo, that's where Keagan comes in. So Keagan, you're going to demo the game and show everyone how the game is played. Then reception that we got from the game, evaluations and feedback that we got for the game. And we are also going to ask you, colleagues, to give us some feedback on how we can improve the game in case we flex it into something else. We're going to tell you what we think is next for us at that stage. So introduction. This is supposed to be me and that's supposed to be Keagan. So hopefully the avatars are close. So this is Keagan. Keagan put this together yesterday. I've always had my own avatar anyway. So by introduction, I'm an associate professor in AI and applications. I'm resident at the Department of Applied Information Systems, College of Business and Economics here at UJ at the University of Johannesburg. And Keagan was my student from last year. So he's my student from last year. He came into first year in 2020. We call him the pandemic year students. So he was one of the top students in my class in first year, first and second semester. So I usually have this mentorship program where I extract the top students and I kind of teach them more stuff. So I introduced him to games earlier this year. And he's been part of some of my game projects lately. And when this idea came to my mind, because he can multitask a lot, is to get his distinctions in his modules and still has a lot of time to work on some side projects. And fun fact, Keagan is one of my highest paid students this year on work integrated learning, which are projects that are not, that are external projects and students are working on. So Key, do you have any memory to share from your first year or this year? Any one word or two? Yeah.
All I can remember is walking into, the first one that comes to my mind is walking into class for chapter 0, which is Prof Abejide to development software, and Prof being quite intimidating to the whole class. But getting to know him over the past 2 years has been absolutely fantastic, and couldn't have done any of this without him.
Keagan, intimidating. That's how you describe me.
Definitely, Prof.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
there's another side to you, Jide.
yes. Yes, apparently, Prof, you never know until you read teaching evaluations. So interesting description. So I had that session called Chapter 0 that Keagan is referring to, where I kind of come up and tell students that it is now or never kind of thing, you know, like what do you want out of life and all of those things. So it's almost like trying to, it's like mentorship 001. So yeah, I can understand what Keagan means by that. Yeah, it's like military drill as well. So hey, I'm happy you turned out well, Keagan. So my technique worked apparently.
Yeah, definitely.
Worked. Yeah. Okay, so welcome everyone. So that's basically the story. Keagan went on and became also the top student in my module this year, Dev 2A. That module is about creating databases and developing web applications. So Keagan has been doing very well. Yeah. So why Dev Game? Keagan, you can switch off your cam now, because I think you're streaming very slowly. So yeah. So why Dev Game? Why this in the first place? The truth is that we were just having fun. So we just got off another game that we developed that was a real life project for the UJ library. And that game was about teaching students about plagiarism. Then we just thought, okay, let's just do something else to place a student in a game. So beyond fun was the excitement of gaming. This year, because we were not on a face-to-face teaching and learning practices, so most of my students were sitting in different places. So we were always connecting on different platforms, playing different games just for relaxation after many hours of work, of hard work. So designing and playing Plague Warfare. So Plague Warfare was the game we created for the UJ library. It's waiting to be launched. And one thing that I did ahead of this presentation, if you can see my screen, is I kind of launched Plague Warfare to just show you a feel of it. So this is was one of the game. Keagan was also part of the team that created this game. So in this game places you at the front of the UJ library, APK campus. If you've been there, you kind of can relate to this image right there. And you can actually move around, see a student there just sitting by herself there. You can navigate the whole library. You can still see the banner of the UJ library there. and you can get into the library, I think in the middle. Yep. So here, see some of those librarians sitting there with the bookshelves behind them, elevators on the right. So the whole idea is to render it to look exactly like real life. That bookshelf, if you go to the library right now, you probably find it there, the copy room and all of that. So after we were done with that game, the library will launch this game when they're ready through the office of Professor Maria, the director of the library. So when we're done with that game and we're playing and we're getting excited, the thought just came to my mind to say, can we play students in the game? Like, we want them to actually be in the game in one of my modules, which is one of the most challenging modules. So that was a question. And why do we want to do that? Because that programming module is one of the most difficult ones. It's called introductory programming. In my department, it's called development software 1A and 1B. In other departments where programming is taught, it's called different things. So it belongs to the group we call risky modules, if you are familiar with that term at UJ. So I call it risky modules or WhatsApp group. And why did we think this can be successful? Because serious games, these kind of games are referred to as serious games, meaning you can play and have fun while you learn a particular concept, some concepts or particular ideas. So we know from literature that these things are very successful. So it was worth pursuing. So that's about why Dev Game. One of the things that I just wanted to bring up is that teaching innovation, like Prof. Chetty said, is one of my passions. So you can look at some of the articles in recent years that I have written on different innovations, or some of the tools that you can check online. This one was a Python bot. This is a chatbot that allows you to learn programming real time. So this was published this year. Then this one, we just finished this one actually literally last week, and we just submitted this article. In this article, we're predicting how successful students will be at the end of the semester using machine learning. And right now, this link that you see here leads you to a website where you can actually use the tool. So it's online right now. Then also recently, we just kind of picked some of the chatbots we've created for learning, put them together side by side with a bunch of other chatbots others have created, and we kind of did a systematic review of that, and it's also one of our reasons works in my team. As for teaching innovations in general, there are things I create with my students that are just tools that you can use, like a mark speculation app where students can actually speculate what their mark would be. Student shuffle, those things are just used in my modules, created by myself and my students for my modules. And there are many of those. There are some that are more like research. Some are more like research. So those are like the tools plus articles that come from it. Those are like problem generators for different modules. You have chatbots and different bots. This year we had about 2 to 3. Now I think the third one is getting ready. Proctoring systems that are based on computer vision, meaning that we can actually watch a student while they write exams or assessments online. We have games like this one we are showcasing, and many of that. However, if you're interested in my teaching innovations, you want to just follow, you can watch one of my recent talks. I think before the end, I'm going to paste this link on the chat window. It's on YouTube. You can just watch that. Designing Dev Game, we're getting closer to the demo now. So what were the things we were thinking about? We're thinking about the setup of the scene. I want the student to feel like they're in a classroom. So the scene and the characters. So the student is actually the camera walking around. So the student is first person. We call it first person. They can pan the camera around. Keagan will show you guys shortly. Then we placed some students there, make sure that demographic-wise, everybody's represented. Got a lady there. Got his young man here. We've got his young man here as well, kind of on his laptop. And some kind of like UJ branding as well. Keep calm and be UJ. With some lighting on the ceiling and stuff like that. So that's our 3D environment. The content of the game, when the student is in class, what they are watching, what they are listening to, the lecturer presenting virtually, is actually videos from my previous classes as well. So that makes it a lot easy. We didn't have to work on content for many hours. The thinking is that we allowed the student to be able to pause the game, get out of the classroom, go, because it's a video game anyway. So get out of the classroom virtually, walk the corridors, and sit actually on one of these desks, and then see the lecturer from afar. Also, we wanted to collect data about how long the students actually spent in the game, which we were able to do that. Game demo. It's time for you to see the game. Key, are you ready?
Yes, Prof.
All right, Key. Try to share your screen. I'm going to stop sharing now.
There we go.
No. Okay. Let's give it one more second. I think we can. And let me stop my camera. Okay, Key, you're live. Let's go.
Awesome. Okay, everyone. So once you have installed the game successfully, this is basically the login page. This is where we would be fetching your information from the database back and forth. If you go to register, so anyone new to the game would be able to register their own account, regardless of if they're a student. There's no verification on any of these text boxes. It can be implemented in the future, but as of now, just for the general public, there's no verification. So if we wanted to register a new account, it would be as simple as filling in these and then clicking register. And then if I wanted to log in as a student, I will be using my testing account, which for this demo. So when we log in, it'll take us to when it logs in. There we go. So this is basically the home page. This page allows you to see the credits, which is myself and Professor Jide. And then a simple instruction. This is the purpose of the game on the right hand side. And then on the left hand side, you can see just the basic instructions for the keys that you'll be using during gameplay. So if we go to Dev 1B, so this is something we added. So in future, we would be able to expand. We can put other modules on here. So for now, Dev 1B is what we have. And then anything highlighted in this like beige color, this is any available lecture that Prof Jide has made available for the students to watch. Anything grayed out, this means that it hasn't been made available for students yet. And then if you can see, if you hover over bottom left hand side of the page over here, you can see there's a little description of what you'll be doing in these parts. So Unit 1, Part 1, this is Introduction Large, Variables, Rules, and Comments, and so on for every video. Let's just do Unit 1, Part 1 as the demo. So if we click on Part 1, you can see we get spawned into the virtual classroom, like Prof Jide showed. And then I've clicked in the top left-hand corner, you'll be able to see that there are many keys which allow you to navigate the classroom better. So for example, I've pressed Q, meaning the lecture is currently paused, but I'm able to still walk around. If I wanted to pause the game, I can simply click escape, and I can exit or I can resume the game. But for this purpose, we're just going to keep it paused so everyone can hear me talking.
Sorry, Keagan.
So this.
Sorry.
Yes.
Can you maximize that the view, because we can see your entire screen with the MS Teams and participants. So we may be missing on some of the other.
Try.
No. Okay, I think Key, just drag the Teams. What's it called? That Teams sharing.
This at the bottom.
Pop up. Yeah, I think you're already full screen. Yeah, just drag that away. Yeah.
That's
I think that's what Prof was
saying. Bottom corner.
Yeah, put it in the bottom corner. Yeah.
Is this okay, everyone?
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Cool. So, one of the great learning curves in the development of the game was learning how to make 3D characters myself. So this is supposed to be Prof Jide, and then we've actually got myself.
Key,
so it's not.
I think I have to score you on that. I think for me that's a fail.
It's just is it the hair, Prof? You haven't ever liked that you don't have hair.
I also don't think that's how I stand when I'm standing.
Okay, yeah, but we can fix that. We can get a more casual pose in the next implementation.
Cool.
And then we've got our characters showing diversity. And then we can go, if we wanted to take a seat in this seat, in the top left-hand corner, it tells you that you can press T. So if we press T, we can see that we're now sitting in the seat. And it's more to give a more immersive feeling to the game, like you're actually in the classroom. You can see that the lecturer is paused, but if I wanted to click play, and now it's like you're in an actual lecture, watching the screen. You can see that the lecturer is lip syncing the video. If I wanted to click pause and then go, and then we can actually navigate the rest of the. So if someone wanted to take a break from the lecture, the idea was that they could just an extra space for them to explore. So it's not too claustrophobic, just in the single classroom. And then as well as what's implemented at the moment is we are able to track the students that play the game, as well as if they finish a lecture, they will get their score. And we're hoping that in the future, this will be able to help with participation marks for the actual module. So if we leave the lecture, and we log out, and if I log into the admin account, I'm not too sure what's happening here. There we go. Okay, so this would be Professor Adebijo's homepage, and as you can see, he's got an extra button at the bottom here, and this is simply so that when he feels like releasing a new video to the class, he can check. Prof, sorry, may I check these just for the demo purposes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So if we wanted to release part 1 and part 2 for unit 3, now we can click save, and the students will now have access to part 2 and part 3, and we are able to track their videos through the database in the backend. And yeah, that is the game. Don't think I missed out on anything.
No, you did a fantastic job, Key. That's the game. That's the game. You can stop sharing so that I can get back to where I was.
There you go.
Fantastic stuff, Key. Colleagues, there will be a time for question and answers. So I'm just going to continue the other aspects of our presentation now. Okay, I think I'm live. Key, can you see my screen?
I can, Prof.
Absolutely. So this is the demo that Keagan just showed you. And the next thing is I just wanted to kind of give you some insights on the reception we got. So when you're innovating, really, you don't really know which one is going to be the bomb. You don't. You just wake up every day, you think of something else, you call a few students, show them a few skills and tell them to just kind of explore it. And this one was a shocker for me because I don't think we've ever posted anything on LinkedIn that had up to 50 shares and a lot of likes. So people kind of responded well to this. So in this session, I kind of show a few numbers from the internet, from social media of the reception of this game. So first thing I did before I even went social media was to go to the classroom and tell students to explore the game. So guys, if you know you're not interested in watching the videos, here's a game, can you download and play? And quite a number of them, there were about 100 students in the class this year, quite a number of them actually preferred the game to actually watching the videos. And we're still doing some kind of quantitative survey on why did they prefer and things like that, because we're working on a research article on this game as well. So then for LinkedIn, I posted it on LinkedIn for some of the colleagues listening to me. We know where we meet each other on LinkedIn on the other side. So I posted it on LinkedIn with some very good comments, likes, and a lot of shares. Then from the data as well, we were able to make a lot of inference on students actually played longer. So we got some data from the play side of data of the gameplay. Then from the students themselves in my module this year, I got other feedback like, as you might have guessed, access to devices. Some of them struggled to say, you know what, we don't have things to actually play a game like this. So then that's one of the problems that keep coming up. Of course, in the 4 hour where everything is going digital, and a lot of people are still behind because they have no access to those things. So one of the things that came to mind for me was that maybe in January 2022, I'm going to set up a game station in the library. And I have this MOU with the UJ Library through Professor Maria. So I'm actually discussing with her. One of the things I want to bring up is that can we have actually a game station? Because right now she's setting up a virtual reality station as well. So if I have a game station, I can take maybe 15, 20 students. Then maybe during the semester, some students can go and game the module. So you go to the library, you game the module, instead of watching videos, take some notes from the game, and then you go back to your residence. So talking about the numbers, I'm just going to zoom in terms of the place where people that viewed the post are from. First, the post had about 20,000 views and about 47 shares and a lot of comments as well. 330 reactions, likes, and all of that. A lot of people, not surprisingly, are from Johannesburg area. For some reason, Jamestown, people at Jamestown actually were more interested in it, which is quite interesting. And colleagues at UJ, about 313 of them actually viewed the post. And the banking sector, that was kind of exciting for me. I was kind of like, why would the banking guys think about games or find this interesting? So ABSA and Standard Bank guys were actually viewing it. I'm not surprised about VETS because I have some colleagues from my days at VETS. Then we have professors. About 532 people with the title of professors, both nationally and internationally, actually viewed this, which is quite interesting, meaning teachers are looking at this as well. Then students, of course, are interested. Then software developers, these are just people in my space, in computational space, and research fellows that are probably thinking of research in this space as well. So it was quite a dynamic reach, which was interesting. Then the UJ channel on LinkedIn actually shared it, and we were very proud to be featured in that space as well. There were quite a number of good feedback. This was saying UJ doing good things. Games is the future, learning and education. This is an interesting channel because it says Empire Partner Foundation. I don't know what they're really into, but they've got over 1,200 followers, and they just felt like this was so cool. And this other person who is an educator as well says, tag someone else and says it's interesting. This is cool. This person thinks it's an option to Teams and Zoom lectures. Then my head of department, Dr. Stella Wuma says, you know what, our department is doing cool stuff. It's good visibility for our department as well. Then disruptions everywhere. That's another post there to say, this channel will follow, we see what comes out of this, which is one of the things we're going to discuss as we progress. So, Teboko, are you still there? Teboko, I featured you. Are you there?
I am here.
Yeah, Teboko, that was your comment there. Thank you for that comment. Taking it to another level. Well done, Prof, and always super inspiring as Teboko there. This is Professor Daniel Maduku, one of my colleagues in the School of Consumer Intelligence as well, with a comment to say this looks good and they are excited about it. The UJ Library actually supported us, as Mr. Fred is one of the directors at the APB Library. He's here, and yeah, and this was an interesting by a software developer out there to think that Keagan, if you're in second year, you're still doing this great job, what would you, he says, will turn to be by the time you graduate. So this person is kind of like estimating what Keagan would know by the time he graduates, which kind of also goes back to the reason why we are doing this, which is skills development in undergraduate students, so that when they graduate, they can know a lot, so that the industry can get them hired very quickly. What's next? First, myself and Keagan are working on a research article, and yes, I do research with my undergraduate students as well, not just postgraduates. However, right now I'm giving him some space to focus on his modules and get those distinctions in. However, before the end of the year, maybe when the semester is done, we're still going to catch up to see how we progress with that. The article is called Dev Game Attending Classes in a Video Game During COVID-19. We have we have the game already. We have some good feedback and some student feedback as well. We can write a decent article, which is what we're busy planning, and we can submit it to a good journal for publishing. Similar games for other modules is worth thinking about. For right now, we're not thinking about it, but something that comes to our mind. More exploration of the campus in Dev Game. It would be nice to be in B-Red 2122. I think Maureen is there. Maureen, are you there? I have my colleague here, Maureen. So Maureen, imagine that you can actually take that lecture in B-Red 21 and 22, get out of the classroom, go to student center. That would be like a good experience. And that would be something that we can call a complete role-playing UJ student game. We can create that. We have the skill sets to create that. However, the question would then become funding. How do we, because that's more like a longer term project. So what I'm saying is it's possible for a student to actually game the whole of UJ. So in UJ, you go to student center, you go to finance department, you interact with every aspect of the structure, the physical structures of the environment inside the game. So that's possible. Prof. Chetty, if that's an interesting project for you, please sign the checks and let's get started. So, colleagues, I have, that's good timing, I think. That's a lot of time for us to now talk about how you think we can improve the game. That's one question. Then yeah, we open up for questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Jide. That was a very interesting presentation. I must just say, Keagan, in creating your avatar, I think subconsciously he was portraying you as the intimidating one, you know, an intimidating persona. I couldn't help but think of you as an FBI or CIA agent. Firearm at your side, you know.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah. Whilst the others are thinking of the questions and suggestions, one question that I would like to ask, you know, of course, this is a very interesting innovation, and I must say the graphics are very, very good. It's very, very realistic, you know. It makes you feel like you are in that environment. What I would like to know, and you must please forgive my ignorance about what is meant by a game. Why do you call this a game? What are the students playing in this? Why is it called a game, other than a kind of a simulation or computerized, you know, presentation of something that would alternatively have taken the form of a video, a recorded? Yes. Why would you call it a game? What are the students playing?
Yeah, Prof, that's a fantastic question. And actually, thank you for that question. Game has many components. One is the content of the game, what you are playing. The second one is the scoring of the game, then the environment of the game, and many other simple components of a game. What makes this one a game? You're right, if there was no scoring, then it would have just been a simulation. But there is scoring in this game, meaning that the more you play, the more points you earn. So that's what we're capitalizing on, and that's why it became a game completely, because if you attended a lecture in this game and you listen for 35 minutes, you score a point. We have a leaderboard as well that we're constructing with Keagan at the back, so that students can have some bragging rights to say, you know what, I'm the leading student in this class in terms of watching the lecture videos. And for the students that are not watching as well, at the bottom of the ranking, you can see them because you have the data to see them. So the scoring of the game, Prof, makes it a complete game. That's one. However, because the platform is not the same for everyone, meaning some students do not have access to actually playing this game, that makes it an alternative to videos, not actually a replacement to videos. So again, that's why the canvas for us now is very open. It's something that we felt it was fun. We did it. We had fun doing it, like I said. And we're not trying to replace videos with it. We're just saying for students that prefer gaming environments and gaming scoring, and they want to prove a point to their lecturer that, hey, I'm watching this video, prove a point to their colleagues that, you know what, I prefer the games, then this is a good alternative for them. Prof. Chetty, did I answer your question?
No, sure. But there's any kind of, no interaction that takes place within that environment. It's just a matter of the students scoring points by attending.
So Prof, existing in the environment itself, moving around the environment, you can bump into those characters that are what we call colliders there. You can actually move, you can sit, you can talk, you can move around. There are things that make you interact with the environment. But what you mean by interaction, if I get you right, is peer interaction, like you want to interact with someone else. So that's another level. So we can do something like that where we actually make it multiplayer, where Prof Chetty connects and I connect and actually see an avatar of Prof Chetty. He can see an avatar of me and we can actually interact. So yeah, that one is another level. Absolutely, that's one of the possibilities.
And also the possibility of also including some activities in the game, where the student actually engages in the activity, achieves a certain outcome, and then gets a score.
Yeah, that's assessments now, Prof. So assessment is something completely different as well. It's not like we cannot put it in a game. However, there are phases to these things because for assessment, you have to think of, do you want to generate the assessment, which I've done over the years. I have algorithms that can do that. Do you want to auto-assess it? So if it's textual content, it's more difficult because that's natural language processing, meaning you have to automatically understand what students has typed despite all the errors and the semantics. Then if it's multiple choice, that's a lot easier. That one you can easily do. So absolutely all of these things can be put in a game, Prof. But trust me, this is on a scale that is so smaller than what you... I like the imaginations, Prof. Maybe we need to create a center for innovation in teaching and learning at UJ. That way we can have some budget. That way we can put our students in that room, 50 of them, and we can make all of this happen.
For sure. Okay, let me now leave it open for the others to actually make suggestions or ask questions. You know, let's just see what's on the chat. There's I don't know if it's a comment or a question, but from Nicola Wakelin Theron. I would like to know what the possibility would be to expose tourism students to various attractions, as we have noticed that students do not have a travel culture. Previously, Prof. Abejide showed me a 360-degree camera. Maybe our students could view the attractions and move in and out of an attraction. Have an experience to lunch as they move into a restaurant, as they move into, and so on, or roller coaster ride at the Gold Reef. This is a very interesting suggestion, and I think it's very...
Yes, absolutely, and thank you very much, Nico, for that. Nico, now you're in spirit because it's almost like you're reading my mind. So right now, currently we have a project like that. We have a project. It's a master's research project. One of the supervisors, the other supervisor is a postdoc, Dr. Idausa, and Professor Van Niel, the dean. So on this master's, we actually placed the old Constitution Hill, some tourism attraction sites. It's a master's registered actually at STH. That's why it's beautiful. It's an STH master's, but in 4 applications in STH. So what we did was to place Constitution Hill, 2 sites in Constitution Hill inside the game. So it's a 3D simulation. You go in there. It's almost like you're visiting Constitution Hill. When you walk around, you get voiceovers that explain things to you, like your sightseeing. This is this, that is that. The students that is, let me see if the student is here. Tabile, are you here? Tabile Dube. That's our student who actually is working on this project. I'm not sure she's here. So yeah, we have, that's a fantastic idea. Let's begin the conversation actually, because it's not just a tool that we're going to create. It's also research, because within the context of tourism products and attractions in South Africa, most of these things have not been done because colleagues in that space are not tech, and guys in tech are not actually in that space. So it's that blend. At the moment we find that blend, we can start having new products and new research articles coming out. That's a great one, Nico. Absolutely.
No, perfectly. You know, I mean, but I can only imagine you going to Gold Reef City and taking photographs of the place to be able to input it into your...
Yes.
into
so we map the environment. We take photos, we take pictures. Sometimes we go there with 3D cameras. We take, yes, I think I've shown Nico something like that before. Yes, we do all of that. Then we now go and we scale it in the game to make sure we create a 3D environment in the game. That's a good representation of that real life experience.
And what about that experience, particularly in the environment of tourism and hospitality, where the student can actually have an immersive experience with virtual reality, you know?
Yes. And Prof, I'll come to that. Let me just respond to one thing Nico just typed now as well. Yes, Nico, that's the beauty of collaborations and multidisciplinary research. Our colleagues at STH don't have to be computer scientists or engineers. They're already experts in their fields. For those of them that are very ambitious, then yes, of course, they can learn a few things, because the student that I told you about, her previous degrees was in STH. However, now she is now learning a lot about virtual reality, because the title of her research is marketability of tourism products using virtual reality. So now she has to learn a lot about VR. However, she's still contributing to the scholarship and the theory of hospitality in South Africa. So yes, that collaboration can happen. That's the whole idea. That, like, I bring what I have, you bring what you have, we meet halfway, and we create this beautiful stuff. And I think one of my colleagues that's actually in the chat window right now, let me see if she's here. Jody's here. Jody, you want to say a word or two on our ongoing collaboration?
So yes, Jody, hi, Prof. How are you?
I'm very well, Jody. So Jody is in finance. Yeah, Jody, a word or two about our collaboration.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say our internet's a little bit unstable because it keeps dropping. So I do apologize in advance if something happens while we're chatting.
No,
but yeah, Prof and I have been working quite a lot, and we're working on some exciting stuff, which we are getting there. I'm sure it'll be great when we can showcase it at some point.
Yes.
So.
No, I'm aware that finance is busy with one game involving ethics in finance, ethical decision making. We know the library has this game on plagiarism, but it is not contextualized for the financial space. Yeah.
So the one with Jody is similar. It's different topic. It's called loss aversion. It's a topic in our field. We have another master student working on that. Her name is Larisha. And then what we were doing was just to make sure people can make these decisions in a game. So we want to compare the data in real life to the data in the game. Want to make it more accessible to people to just fiddle with, and we are very close to the end. In fact, I have a meeting with Jody 6 p.m. today, and we are going to be following up on that as well. I also have students involved in the project. Yeah,
this interdisciplinary collaboration is really very interesting.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Trust me. And since we've began, I've actually learned a lot from colleagues in other fields as well. Things that I didn't know what they meant, and my students' minds are going boom. Their minds are exploding in all of this, in this realm. So it's been interesting. Yeah.
So colleagues, there you have it. There's the scope for collaboration, and I think regardless of the discipline that you are in, there are possibilities to consider, and I think if you just have a conversation with Jide, you may come up with possibilities that you yourself may not have thought of, that could be appropriate for your environment. So are there anyone else? Is there anyone else that has a question or would like to make a comment? Before maybe I should just pick on some individuals.
Yeah, pick on someone, Prof.
Yeah.
Supported. I think Teboko, you want to say one thing or the other?
Prof, thank you. I'm just here also thinking about all the ideas for our department. I think I've engaged with you before in relation to something similar to this for our laboratory, and also taking that real life experience for our students to experience the industry. Because we had that with the former national diploma program, but with the new program, the students are not given the opportunity to go to the industry and really see what is happening there. So really, this is something that most definitely next year, Prof, I'm reaching out to you. We really have to do this.
Absolutely, let's plan it. Let's do it.
That's amazing.
You mentioned the term to go and experience learning, and I think experiential learning is of critical importance if you want our graduates to have the right attributes to be able to transition into the work environment easily, and not just provide them with theory. And I think these types of innovations allows us the possibility of providing students with with an opportunity to get a kind of experiential learning, especially in these days when we are confronted with all kinds of challenges, that prevents us from going physically out there, but to create these simulations for students to engage in and participate in and to get a sense of what the world looks like. It will not be the same, but at least they will get some kind of that experiential value, if I may use that.
And Prof, to support that, I think most of our students I don't think any government of any country can create enough jobs for all of its citizens. Most successful countries actually create jobs by growing companies and growing entrepreneurs that step forward and create jobs for other people. So I think when we're training our students, we've always known this is the answer. We know for every 10 students, if we're lucky to get 4 or 5 of them hired, the remaining 4 or 5 need to go on and create jobs for others. So, and I know we discuss this topic in theory every time, but then one of the ways to make it very more practical is when students within UJ themselves are solving problems within UJ with technology, like in my space about technology. In other spaces, it could be about other things. And we can then have those collaborations to make these things come to life. So yeah, I really agree that's the future.
I see we have Monique Kiwi here who's in attendance, and she's always thinking of new ideas. Monique, what is your view?
Yeah, so Prof, I was very interested when I heard that the finance department is doing ethical decisions with gaming, because Stefanie Fenter and myself were actually discussing, we attended that previous gaming session, because we've been thinking of having a type of a platform to take our students like an ethical decision, but we still, it's still in the pipeline. I mean, we wanted to create, like you said, a real experience. I won't go to experiential learning, because experiential learning is almost like, it has so many avenues of reflection, real life engagement, collaboration. It's got to almost go through this circle of experience. So I want to say we more wanted to give our students a real life ethical decisions where they're faced with certain conflicts and they go within like that virtual reality. So I'm very excited about this, because now we've seen 2 different ways that we could possibly implement it.
That's great.
So thank you.
Well, thank
you very much for that comment here.
And I see we have Ilsa Carson's here as well. She's also developing a kind of an intervention for students. They refer to it as Mind Gear, to promote important soft or pervasive skills, for that will contribute to the holistic development of students. Do you think there's any scope for applications in your environment, Ilsa?
Thanks, Evan. Yes, I definitely think, like Monique is thinking, that it's more a soft skill thing, not a financial thing. However, I mean, I can be open to that, but that's not my field. So yes, absolutely. Thinking about communication skills. How would you respond to someone? If you meet them here, if you meet them here, if you meet a different person from a different culture, and maybe they have a bubble with a little bit of their history, now, oh, I see this is an introvert and he comes from this place and he's this age. How would I respond? And then you can kind of type something or choose some options. It's very exciting. I don't even want to think too much because, but yes, I think, thanks. I think that's amazing. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think you just provoked a thought right now, because we have a project that's ongoing. I'm just going to kind of flash it for you. I'm loading it up now. It's a grouping project. So the whole idea is to group students to do group work. However, we've done it before. So simple. One of the students I was involved with, the first one we did was on Poseforo, and she's here. I can see her in the chat window. She's in my second year class. Then we now upgraded that level to now group students based on their personalities, because we realized that you can have great groups of great mark averages. The one we did before is mark averages, to say, we want a strong guy in the group who can help the group. We want the weak guys to learn from the strong guys. So if you ask students to group themselves, naturally they group based on their affinity for each other, if they're friends. So they could be weak groups. 2 of them don't know, 5 of them don't know the topic or the subject, or what needs to be done, but they group themselves together because they're friends. All these smart guys just come together and they become this fantastic 4 super group. And the balance is not there. And plus, you cannot transfer knowledge in your classroom. So one thing we've done recently is to, now we went in the theory of psychology to see personality types and all those things. So put in an algorithm. The algorithm then makes sure that the people that are very bold in the group, people that are very quiet in the group, so it mixes things up in a way that that it's a lot. Let me just see if I can show you now. It mixes things up in a way that the group, we call it balanced with personalities as well. So not just balancing with, oh yeah, I got it. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. So not just balancing with marks, because balancing with marks, it's an easier task than. So this work is with my honor student called Nikita Patel. I'm not sure she's here. She's probably at work right now. So a parameter-driven algorithm for balanced student grouping with performance and personality considerations. So it's an article we're working on. We're almost there. The whole idea is to have a list of students. They fill up some questionnaires so that we can group them based on the theory of psychology to see their personality types. We can put them in a balanced group when we're done. And we actually, although this part is the technical part of how this thing is done, so ignore all of this jargon here. But here's the tool. So we finished the tool actually. So in the tool, you can see how many groups do you want. You upload the students, and now you have the students grouped. And when you have them grouped, you can actually see this is a weak student, and it's an agreeable student based on personality types from literature and all of that. So it blends the student up in a way that the team is strong because there's some guy who knows the concept, some guys who are willing to listen, not too many stubborn guys in the group and things like that. So yeah, it's an interesting one. We're not from psychology, but we're able to just use the literature to get this done. A collaboration with someone like Ilse that I just spoke now would be interesting to see what the theory of our field tells us about things like this and how we can better improve an algorithm like this one. Yeah, so the possibilities are limitless when you start crossing disciplines. When you start moving around like that. Yeah.
So, I mean, we have individuals here from different disciplines, and I think they're a bit shy to talk. So I'll give them an opportunity in any case, So,
I think Monique stands up.
Yeah, so you've actually sparked a thought for me because I've done a bit of research on the group learning, and lots of our accounting projects, we'll say to students, form your own groups because it's just easier. And we thought because we've got a part-time students and full-time students and that, but then I started doing some research on it, and they were saying like the groups that when you've done the algorithm, which is so clever using technology for us to differentiate the groups, because they were saying when you create these groups that rather are not formed by themselves, there's better opportunities for learning. So you're looking from the psychology perspective. I was looking from the skill perspective, and just from a soft skill, and I'm saying soft skill because it's very broad with the skills, but it gives really a lot more scope for students to learn from. And I was looking at it from the perspective of weaker and strong students, of how they can, the stronger students mentor the weaker students and vice versa, help each other in that learning space. So, I mean, there's so many theories of how different just students not grouping themselves, how it can benefit students. So yeah, I'm quite keen to learn how to do the algorithms of grouping.
That's fascinating. So yeah, you're right about that. And for you, for the soft skill, one thing that comes to my mind immediately is that one challenge you're going to have is how do you get students to tell you their soft skill, or how do you measure that? Because in our case, what we did, we had a questionnaire that was from the theory of psychology. They ask questions that are very not related to personality. So you don't even know you're actually answering a question that tells us about your personality. The questions are like open-ended kind of thing, and when these keywords come up in the answers, we can kind of map you to a personality type. So and these were the personality types that we came from the literature that we know exists, and we know which ones go with which one. So that's also been published in the literature. So some guys can be group leaders, for example. Those guys are the extroversion groups and all these guys. Some guys can be group members, good group members. Some guys perform very badly when they are group leaders. So all of those permutations go into the algorithm, then the algorithm then mixes it up in a nice way. So it'll be interesting to see, Monique, on your side, how can you measure those soft skills? If you ask anyone to say, are you a gentle person, or are you emotionally intelligent? Trust me, the default answer will be yes. However, not everyone could actually be. So yeah, what do you think about that? That's thought-provoking.
Yes, I want to know. So I just want to clarify. So I was meaning there's evidence that suggests your soft skills are developed more if you're in a mixed group rather than a self-selected team. So the algorithm should separate students according to gender, mark allocation, yeah, all the different demographics, so that it's not that we're sitting
diversity.
Yes,
Diversity.
so that's exactly, thank you. So we're sitting with a diverse group, but they're saying because of that diversity, the scope of skills development can be so much higher. But then other research suggests that when the lecturer intervenes, so you call it collaborative versus cooperative learning. In cooperative learning, the lecturer is more involved in the process and is still more engaged with the students versus collaborative where they're more on their own. And within that cooperative, the skills is even higher in this diverse group, if that makes sense.
No,
absolutely.
I can see. Yeah, no, that's excellent. So thank you, colleagues. You know what? It's 2 minutes to 12. Unless there's any one who would really like to make a comment or ask a question, we can actually bring the session to an end. Jide?
Prof, again, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to colleagues that have contributed to this conversation. It's been very enlightening for me and my students that are in the chat room, especially for Keagan as well. Keagan, you know what I always say, your second year, you're part of this kind of presentation. You can go back, boy. You cannot go back. You can only improve from this point. So
yeah,
fantastic job. Yeah, good job, Keagan. Thanks, Prof. Yeah.
No, thank you, Jide, and to Keagan, and thank you for this great presentation this morning. We really appreciate it. Obviously, you know, these types of presentations are inspiring. It stimulates our own thinking and makes us also want to look at new ways of doing things in our environment.
Okay, Prof, before you end it, let me just post the YouTube link that has been requested in the chat window right now. So it's in the chat window right now.
All right, so colleagues, there you have it. You can see Jide is very open to engagement.
And thanks, Maureen. Yeah, Maureen, it's nice to have you here, Maureen. It's been a while. Maureen is my colleague. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Maureen. So Jide is very open to engagement, and you can see he's very friendly. I don't know where Keagan is getting the idea that he's very intelligent.
He just made up his mind to slaughter me today. Don't mind him. Yeah.
So he's very friendly, and I'm sure that he has an open door that you can just give him a call and suggest ideas and have a discussion and take your ideas forward. So thank you for that invitation and for the willingness to engage with our colleagues in the CBE. And thank you for all that you are doing in contributing to the teaching and learning environment. We really appreciate it, and keep the spirit going, that spirit of innovation. All right.
Thank
you very much. And thank you, Wendy, for organizing this event and ensuring that everything
Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Wendy.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And thanks, colleagues, for attending, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, colleagues.